Use ureteroscopes right now are booming. A lot of people like them for one main reason. For me, the number one reason is training. So all the residents right now are doing flexible ureteroscopy because you're not afraid that they will break a scope that would cost 20 and 30,000 euros.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is very, very important. What are the key features of the scopes? First of all, it needs to be reliable. So you need to have a scope that is not worse than the other scopes that we were using. So it needs to have a good reliability. And what does reliability mean? It means that it doesn't break. It has a nice force going inside. It torques nicely. It is resistant enough when you're torquing it that you will not be afraid to break it. And even if you break it, it's always a single-use scope. But in difficult cases, for example, where you are going to bend a lot, you want to be able to bend a lot. So it's very important. Very important also is the vision. So you need to have a very good vision. And right now, I'm very happy to see that competition, it's getting better and better and better. So sometimes the view that you get from these single-use scopes is not worse than digital scopes. So I think that also is very important. And last but also very important is the size. The smaller, the better in this case. So, if you manage to go down with the size, it makes it much less traumatic for the ureter. You can use an access sheath, which is smaller. You don't need to prestent the ureter, so it goes in very nicely. So I think that the diameter is very important on a scope. So these three things, I would say: reliability on the scope when you're working with it. That the parts, that the lower lock nicely is connected and doesn't leak. That the connection is nice and easy to do, and it doesn't take a lot of expertise to do it. Things that make it easy for the user, because as I said, the user is not only the experienced urologist as he used to be in the past. It's also young guys. Flexible ureteroscopy is booming right now because more young people are getting trained with it, and this is due to the single-use scopes. Yeah, well, first of all, what I liked is, as I said, it's a very reliable scope. So it has a very nice torquing mechanism. I bend it extremely in certain scenarios that you saw also, and it never broke. The image is the same from the beginning to the end. There is no loss of, light. If I torque it too much or if I work a lot, there is no interference with the laser. Especially when we are using high power laser, that we like that a lot. There is no interference. On some other scopes, there is image interference on the screen. You can connect it to your main screen, so you can see if you want the small monitor, or you can connect it to your bigger screen, and we're all happy that we can connect things on our main monitor. Vision is excellent. The vision is really good, both in stones and tumors. So this really makes it very nice. And I would say that the only thing that you have to check right now is your pricing. The cheaper, the better.
Yeah.
In a way, I kind of responded to that in a sense. So I think that the first thing you need to do is make it smaller.
Yes.
If you make it smaller, but keeping the image at the level that you have now.
Okay.
So we need to have the same level of image, excellent image, with a smaller size scope, with a good size for your water channel, for the irrigation. So that is a win-win.
Yeah.
That is a win-win. And without increasing the price too much. Because, whatever is in mass usage, because right now, single-use flexible scopes, the market gap is mass use. You cannot afford, the mass user cannot afford to buy an expensive scope. He has to find a cheap scope, and the prices will start finding, an equilibrium. So you decrease the size. The other options right now that are very trendy on these issues is pressure measurement. So it's important to see how much pressure you're working with inside the kidney. And the third, also very trendy right now in the market, is the suction. But the suction is not an active suction, just a suction to aspirate, because if you irrigate and you suddenly aspirate and the system evacuates, it starts bleeding.
Yeah.
So you want something, you need to create a mechanism that the inflow and the outflow will be regulated. So there will be a balance in the kidney, and the kidney will get the overflow of water out. Okay? So this is very important, because if you make a suction that aspirates faster than the irrigation, then it will not work. No, I want to say that it's very important to have single-use instruments. Not only the ureteroscope, the huge market is a flexible or the rigid cystoscopes that people are doing like hundreds of cases every day, and it's not only the hospitals; it's also the private offices. So the doctors need single-use scopes.
Great. That is what we plan to bring to the market.
And not only urology, also other specialties. Yeah. Endo is not only urology; it goes for every market, and especially with all the concept of microbes and especially in some countries the disinfection is crazy. I mean, using single-use scopes is very important. And I think it makes a lot of sense. One of the drawbacks of single-use scopes that you as a company probably need to address is what is happening to all this plastic afterwards.
Yeah.
So it would make sense if, in a way, a company could take back all the scopes that have been used and recircle them somehow.
Yeah, that is the plan that we are working on. So we are trying to recycle things, but to not like remade it into endoscope, but like transfer it into other industries.
Anything else. It goes to that. It is not something that goes in the environment, because this is a criticism on the single-use scopes in general.
We are also looking for the deposing materials so that we could like after use it and it could depose in the nature. So that is something we are working with.
This is a very good direction, because you understand that if everyone starts using single-use scopes, there will be a huge quantity of plastic. And, that is environmentally, that is clearly something that needs to be addressed.
Great that we are paying attention on it. So, thank you. Thank you so much for the interview. And
it's a pleasure.
We would like to thank you for all the effort and see you on the EU.